Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Neil, Flatzoid, Arwin, 10th Man, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome, one and all.
Hello.
Happy Monday.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Hello.
Good morning, hello.
Welcome back, everyone.
Indeed.
Hello.
Happy working weekend. So lots and lots of videos pumped out. Hello, Brian. Hello, Chocolate.
Hey, Nathan here.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Hello.
good morning. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
No, because all drop is just optical.
Not a physical one, at least.
Oh,
Had a guy in the pre-show came in and asked me if I remember what Sokotoa meant. I'm like, vaguely. He's like, okay. Like, well, are you going to tell me why you're asking? No, I'm not telling you why I'm asking. Like, well, what was the point of asking? It's like, well, it's trig. Hey? Why are you asking if I remember what Sokotoa is? There must be a point behind this. It's like, well, when you measure the dip angle to the horizon, and then you derive the R value from it, that would require you to understand that. I'm like, that's fascinating, but it would require that you had a physical geometric sphere edge for a horizon to measure that dip angle to. And then he ran away! He legged it! He literally legged it!
Like I said, he was in the after show all morning preparing that.
He's back now. Hey, Shadow! Hey, Shadow! How's it going? How about that geometric sphere edge horizon? No? Not going to join in? Curve of the Earth? Blocking boats and buildings measured in the geometric sphere edge maths? Dip angles? No? Quizzing me on Sokotoa in the pre-show? What's going on?
Why
Curve
are
of the
they
Earth.
running
Anybody
away
at all?
from their claims?
Anybody at all? Physical sphere edge horizon.
Nope.
it will always exist in their model.
Yeah, it only exists in the maths. Any evidence that you can have axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Would you not first need a radius to have an actual rotation of Earth?
Indeed.
Reference frames ruined. Dan disproved Bob's proof of the rotation of the Earth.
Any evidence of the distance? to the
Simon
sun?
Dan is ace.
Oh, hold on. Globe,
No.
something or other? Globe, virus, foe?
What's that?
You want to add something?
Oh, I didn't say anything.
You just sat with your mic wide open. Thanks. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Nope.
Apparently the ballers think the sun is tangible.
Yeah, they think it's a burning ball of gas in a sky vacuum. They very much think it's a physical item.
You know why they think it's tangible?
Because they made it up
Because you can feel the
themselves. Go on, what do you say? I cut you off.
Because you can feel the heat, so apparently it's tangible.
I see. The heat's
You
tangible.
So-
see the heat.
How do you see heat?
If you light a match, can you feel the fire, or do you feel the heat of the match?
Hey, you'd feel the heat. The fire itself would definitely be tangible, though. If I went and I could touch that and feel
The
it. Tangible
fire is
means-
light.
Tangible
That's what
is-
you're seeing.
Tangible means to touch.
But the point is, you can get to that you can get to that match, can't you?
Yeah, you can get to the match, but you can't get to the sun.
Yeah, the light can touch you, but you can't touch it.
Indeed.
How do you see heat? You could experience
just
heat,
answer
but I
Neil,
don't
'cause
think
he's
you
gonna
can
keep
see
asking.
heat.
The heat's
He
tangible.
said feel, not see.
Feel. You can feel the heat. That's tangible. But to say, therefore, the light in the sky is a tangible thing is a non sequitur.
Yeah, can anybody demonstrate heat being transferred over vast distances through a vacuum? Hmm?
First, need a vacuum for that.
Well, you can't transfer heat through the vacuum. No, Arwin, no.
I'm curious though. Like, of course, I'm now digging back into the presuppositional nonsense. But I'm curious though. Like, what would a setup like that do? Like, you have a heat lamp, a really powerful one. You set it in an aquarium with gas, because otherwise it's probably not going to work. You have to have a container for it, of course. And then outside of it, another container with a vacuum, and then an object at a distance to that outside of that vacuum container. And then I wonder, like, how much of that heat is going to come through
Any
vacuum?
evidence?
Would it?
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No evidence for the distance to the sun.
What is the sun?
I have no idea.
No evidence for the distance to the sun.
No idea, Neil.
I wish Adam was here. He would know the answer to the question.
No evidence to the distance to the sun. That was what he would say.
There are some things that are even beyond Adam, you realise.
No, but I think the inverse square law would apply first. But also, wasn't like heat, light, radiation basically very... like the higher the frequency, the easier it transfers, right? The further it goes, basically. Apparently. So then heat type light, the infrared, must be even more short range like that. See? So that's why I'm wondering, like, yeah, you could definitely see light through a vacuum, but how much of that heat would actually come through with a vacuum in between?
What
How about
vacuum?
the distance?
Hold on. What vacuum?
With infrared light.
The second time Arwin's just brought this up, so he obviously doesn't want to let it go. What vacuum? Why are we shining heat lamps through vacuums? What vacuum is this in reference to?
It's an artificially man-made vacuum in a container in which another container with gas pressure would be and the heat lamp.
Yeah, but why?
To test whether it is even technically possible that infrared light could go through a distance, through a presumed vacuum that in this case would be actual, in order to transfer heat by touch over vast distances
It doesn't answer.
through a vacuum, if that's a technical possibility.
You have kind of half answered. You've said if it would be possible in a presumed vacuum. What presumed vacuum? You know where I'm going. Just say it.
It's just theoretical, man.
For what reason?
Isn't it sort of like what that guy wanted to do Friday? Like,
It's not going to prove a distance to the sun. I just want to know if heat can even transfer in their conceptual model like that. See?
I wonder
Testing their model.
I wonder if you can extract
Well,
a very small quantity of acid dropped into a swimming pool. I wonder if you could just, like, reverse that process and extract it back out entirely. No reason for me wanting to know this. I'm just curious. I wonder if that could
It
be
is
done.
possible.
I mean,
It
I
is
don't know.
possible, Nathan.
I don't know how far the sun is, but, I want to know if you can extract out that acid once you put a tiny drop of it into a massive amount of water. There's no reason for me wanting to know this. What's that?
Well,
I don't get it.
you can. You can. There you go.
Oh, brilliant. That's made
Radiation.
my day. Nature of reality, screw that.
Well, it is a physical thing that is being tested in such a case, but it's still in an impossible scenario. So what it's basically being tested for. It doesn't mean that you can't figure out just the mechanics of things.
Oh, my bad. Do you need a just so story? I assume
No.
that underneath the crust of the earth there's an entire swimming pool that's got a tiny amount of acid in it, and that's why we're kind of acidic in the soil. There you go. There's a made-up story. I made it up myself, therefore it's true.
Cool. That would explain the magnetics.
In a world. In a world.
Oh my god.
Hey, I can do that.
In a world.
Any
where
idea is a
space
good
and
idea.
Time.
Doesn't matter how absurd.
That's right. I can make sense of anything.
Darwin,
I
any
should have
evidence
realised that
to the
before I made up
distance
some
of the
nonsense,
sun?
really.
No,
Thank
Nathan,
you.
no.
Thank you.
Sun is not a tangible object.
Thank you.
Okay, let's
In
move
a
on.
world.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Which one?
We only
Does it
have
matter?
one.
Does it matter
only
which
have
one?
one.
Yeah, it don't matter which. Any.
But how do you prove something that's an effect of something that's maybe caused by something that's an effect that's actually just thought up as a construct in your mind?
Well, you build a device and then you conjure a phenomena inside that device, and then you tell everyone that it's a ripple of space-time bending.
Oh,
That caused it.
I know how to do that. So if I get a heat lamp, right, and they get a vacuum.
Get him.
You bastard!
Owen's in a playful mood today, ladies and gentlemen. It's good fun. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics? Anybody on their travels found anybody claiming science in reference to the globe? Anybody at all?
Well, I found this link. Nobody really addressed it. I put it in the Master Beat chat yesterday. Is it again?
What was it exactly? Let's have a look.
How we learned black holes actually exist.
Oh, okay.
2020 Nobel Prize in Physics. And I posted it I can put the link back in the chat. I'll put it in.
To be honest, Owen, I didn't want to watch it. I was
No
too
shit.
busy making
Yeah,
it.
I asked,
I was too
like,
busy.
hey, can anybody find where the science comes in? And he literally didn't even make a claim. He didn't even say what is just talking about it.
I was too
It's,
busy making a greater video.
I'll
It needs
bet.
a Timotei girl, doesn't it, to have sopping wet hair flicked over her shoulder saying, now the science part, just to distract you.
I find it funny how the Veritasium guy had to release like a post about how apparently people didn't like the title and the thumbnail of his video, and he's out there apologizing for it or something. So I guess people didn't like the title of gravity, why gravity is not a force. I found that kind of funny because he's out there apologizing for it.
Yeah, a few quotes. So,
Yeah. Because you can and must think of gravity as a force now.
right,
See?
took the words out of
See
my
this
mouth.
mistake?
There's one from Musa. Or Professor Brian Cox. There isn't really a force of gravity at all.
To your question, a hypothesis could only be working properly within the scientific method, and those titles you spoke of, cannot do the three constituents of a scientific method. So, no.
No, there is no scientific evidence whatsoever for a spinning ball flying through a sky vacuum. It doesn't exist. There's not going to be any viable hypotheses from any of these pseudoscience fields. They don't have any science. They say they've got science all the time. I'm surprised we have a limited stream of people coming in pointing out where it's asserted they have science. I haven't watched the Veritasium video. Did he actually assert at any stage in his video that it was scientifically validated?
What, validation with actual experiments and not just thought experiments? Come on.
Validation? Oh my god, from a heliocentrist? Heaven forbid. I take
Why
that as a
would you
no.
do actual experiments when you can do thought experiments? They're so much more rewarding.
They
got
could just
experiment.
jump to the scientific theory without the work in between.
Now the science part. So shiny. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Fly me to the moon.
Only in a textbook.
Yeah. Elaborate stories, no physical evidence, P waves, S waves, very nice predictions. Any testing of those predictions, giant failures only.
I feel sorry for the dinosaurs roasting down there.
Any evidence of the R value? Earth radius?
But it's all optical.
Facts.
It's not geometrical.
Indeed. We do not see the geometric horizon.
It's in the maths, though, right?
Yeah, it's in the maths.
Remember,
it only exists in the
spheres
maths.
don't have edges.
Dude, we've only disproven the radius. Come on.
At
Sorry.
best, you would have disproved the radius. Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
No, and Slicebroken is still avoiding me to tell me what context he means with a closed system in an open container. No, open system in a closed container.
Oh,
What
just had to...
if the Earth was a spaceship? It is
Just
in a
had word.
container. It's a spaceship, and there's space outside, and NASA's keeping the valve, like the vacuum, the chamber where you can exit. They're keeping it a secret. How about that?
I've just got word from Slat
That's where the-
Sparkane, actually, Flatsoid. He says, you don't understand.
Wow, what a great rebuttal.
I'm only joking. That's just par for the course, though, isn't it? I think that's it. That concludes the housekeeping.
Isn't that kind of the same lines as gas pressure but that's not atmospheric pressure.
Yeah, they claim it's different.
What is atmosphere?
Atmo means air.
Contradiction.
Sphere means fundamentalist religious zealot assertion that the Earth is that shape.
So they've actually scientifically proven there's an atmosphere, or because I know there's science for
Right.
atmo, but there's no science for atmosphere itself.
No, it's an oxymoron. Atmo, air, has no inherent shape, whereas sphere implies that the gas in the atmo, air, takes the shape of a container. That's an oxymoron.
Can anybody hear me?
Well,
Yeah, we
Nathan,
gotcha.
if you're going to talk about the model, then you gotta understand atmospheric law, Nathan.
But they don't have a
What model?
closed system, Arwin. It's an open system, so they
I
don't have a
know.
container.
But it could be a word trick, because what if they knew the container was a sphere?
Then they
call
wouldn't be saying it's
now,
open.
Oh, can I finish? Then of course, yeah, they're saying, oh, it's a vacuum outside. That makes no sense. But if in actuality it was a sphere, then calling it atmosphere would be technically correct and very confusing for everyone, which is exactly what they want. So who
But why
knows?
would they want that when they're saying there is no container to begin with?
To confuse people.
They're not that smart.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, really.
Well, maybe the people at the steering wheel, but the designers of the system were pretty damn smart, I'd say.
That's us.
That's just a
us.
spell.
That's us.
Exactly.
Right.
They've already confused people just creating a word such as atmosphere, which is a
You just got
paradox
you
in
just-
itself.
you just confused.
They're confused now, but were the people that were making this, building this, programming this into everything, were they just as confused? I don't think so. People now, the believers, are confused because, yeah, if you believe it, it's going to confuse the shit out of you. Of course it is. That's what it's designed for. But the real designers, they couldn't have literally believed it all. They
Yeah.
had to foresee it, lay
They
out
did.
the road. They had to know it wasn't true in order to see the mistakes coming and account for them in the thinking process. All that.
We discussed this last time about Andrew Thomas Young. He's this designer that you're describing. Well, he's just
Could be.
reifying a physical edge, which he's drawing a line of sight to, and then declaring he can't see it. So he's drawing a line of sight to something you cannot see. Those are his words. He believes it. Well, he's the creator or the designer in your example.
Well, he's here now doing that. But yeah, before the internet, it's different.
How is it different? Other than fast.
Well, now it's all open and available. Anyone that wants can basically figure out how to do this and be a champion from the grassroots, be a champion baller, designer, conceptualizer, all that. But back in the day, it wasn't like that. It
What
wasn't
day and
just
what was
so
it?
much
Okay.
available for everyone to tap into.
Back in what day and what was it like?
Well, let's just say 50 years ago, or 80 years ago, 100 years ago, in the planning stages. What, do you think that this entire religion arrived by accident,
I
Nathan?
don't know. I honestly don't know the answer to that question. As much as I've quizzed people on the historic account, which is fairly well documented in terms of where you can track back the origins of the heliocentric Copernican model, that much is seemingly documented in history. Now, the characters that they've got might be completely made up for all I know, but there is a seeming paper trail back to where the origins of this model come from. But that doesn't mean I know how long the model's actually been introduced for, or who introduced it, or why they introduced it, or any of those things. Now, you're postulating that those stories and characters were invented 100 years ago. Maybe. But when I asked my grandmother, who was within that lifetime, when she was about 100 and something years old, she certainly didn't seem to think that it was a new idea of the Earth being a sphere when she was taught it at school. Now, very westernised in a UK school is very different to what they might have been taught out in the Wild West, for example, 100 years ago. But I'm just saying, it doesn't from what I can glean, it doesn't seem to be a nefarious plot that was dropped on us 100 years ago. It's more than that, but I don't know how much longer, and it certainly doesn't tie in with their bullshit history that they give us, as far as I can ascertain. The primary source evidence for their history's woefully lacking.
All right. I'd like to rebut to that because it's a very good point. I'm not suggesting that the original designers were even nefarious at it. They might have thought like this is just a good way to keep things under control. You know, it's the compartmentalization. It's a priest system that is being applied by obfuscating knowledge and then replacing a simpler to grab onto thing for the public to learn that will lead to a dead end when they really want to learn. See?
Yeah,
and that's what they've built. And at first it might have been just out of like, oh, we need to protect from the insanity that's going to arrive in people in reflection on the wars or shit, you know, something like that. But now it's like a free-for-all wizard fest. It's crazy now. It wasn't always like that.
Well, it may be anecdotal, but obviously there's an interview with DITRH and a lady that's over 100 years old that was talking about how in school she was taught it was flat until she wasn't. Until all of a sudden one day it changed into being, now it's a ball. And this is a lady that's still alive, right? So, I mean, is it really 2,000 years old, this nonsensical heliocentric bullshit? I don't know.
Right.
I think that's up in the air.
That's why I said 100 years ago. I think it's much more likely it's not that incredibly old.
Yeah, and then you got newspaper clippings from 1900s where people are getting arrested for walking around talking about it's a ball. So, I mean, really? Where do we go with that?
You don't. It's just newspapers. In the same way as would you take the rag information that you get from today's newspapers and take it as read? That's just propaganda, the same as any other bullshit that you could tie yourself with today.
Yeah, sure, but that's what I'm saying. That's a contradiction to the we've all known for 2,000 years that it's this. Oh, I don't know.
I'll agree.
Some things that might say otherwise.
I'll agree with Darwin from that point then. And you know, there's examples, Little House on the Prairie, where they give an example of exactly that from where it would be 50 years back from when it was made, but 100 years back, say, from now. And they're saying exactly the same thing. So yes, it does seem like out in the sticks, they caught the tail end of the education system actually changing in the last 100 years, whereas us here in the UK, with my experience and my 100-year-old grandmother, certainly wasn't the case. But we are normally ahead of the curve in that regard. So if it was 150 years ago introduced, and the tail end of it was being introduced 100 years ago, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, I mean, even my great-grand, she also says in school she was taught flat Earth. It was just one day all of a sudden globe.
Wow.
That's crazy, right? All of a sudden one day. Oh, guys, hold up. We just realized it's actually a ball that we're living on. And here's all the schematics and how that works.
Well, it coincides with cinema, doesn't it? So you got Universal with their globes and the evolution of their globes around about the same time. And we've been getting propagandized with those for about the last 100 years, haven't we? So people see it on the silver screen, and then from there on in, it's cemented in the suspension of people's disbelief forever. Until now.
Yeah, people are starting to wake up.
It's a crap idea. Heliocentrism's stupid. People hanging off the bottom of a ball, flying through a vacuum. Now, 5 years admittedly down the road, it's so stupid. I just think it's laughable. Yeah, half the Western world think they're on a ball, but really it is silly. You got to admit, it was never really going to catch on if it is 100 years old. The fact it's lasted this long is a bloody miracle.
I agree. It's just silly. It's beyond silly, actually, now.
Well, I don't know. Beyond silly. Well, beyond silly, what function does it? Why is it here?
Originally, it's just a philosophy, a way of understanding the movement of the stars. Now reified into a physical ball beneath people's feet with you standing antipodal.
Right. So it's basically, when you really think about it, a giant mind experiment that's gone a little bit out of control and started to get financial interests and technically dream scams involved.
It's all flat until you make some geometric considerations, Arwen.
Right.
I think I was talking about NASA.
And
There's money to be conned, right, Arwen? Is that what you meant?
Right.
That's where it all
Lots
fell
of
apart.
money.
As soon as people rubbed their hands together and went, whoa, this is a swindle I want a part of, that's where you get NASA. A nice little black hole to pump a load of money in just to keep a rhetoric, a philosophy going. And it's a blatant lie. There's not very many things in this subject matter we can point out and go, there's liars. Overt, outright liars. There they are. You can point at them. Well, why are they there? Well, because it's a good blag, right? That's why. And that's what's
Hey,
down
dreams sell. People lay down huge bucks for dreams. You know, that's the problem.
Yeah, and where are they? They're in heaven, aren't they? The new version of heaven, Heaven Plus, where you float around. You can be a god. They're just selling people heaven.
And now you could buy a property in heaven now too, right? Put money on stars, pieces of land on the moon. I mean, it's all awesome. Why not?
Oh, there's so much stuff in the sky to flog people. It's endless. But as I say, that's where, in my opinion, it all falls apart. As soon as they said we're going to send someone to the moon, that's it. The blag's up from there on in, as far as I can tell.
Didn't they send somebody to the moon in 1969?
Say again, Neil?
I said, didn't they send people to the moon in 1969?
No. What, through a sky
It's a
vacuum?
violation of nature.
No.
What are you talking about? I just seen a video on it.
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber joke. Go on, Brian.
Yeah, just saying to, I think it was Chocolate and Arwen, and maybe even Neil the other day, that what I reckon, for a long time, there was a lot of conspiracy about where all this money that NASA was getting, where it was all going, that they had a black budget, let's just say, and they were creating, let's just say, wormholes to Saturn and spaceships and all kinds of stuff that we don't know about. It was all really, really dark and undercover. But I don't think it was that at all. I think what they were doing is setting up all these places like JAXA and ESA and all these other nonsense space agencies. I reckon it was them forming them. That's what that was. That's what the money was used for. Creating all these other space agencies, you know, to keep validating the lie.
No doubt. Expand.
You know, it's expensive to build a base in Antarctica.
Maybe. That, for me, is just probably part of a bait and switch that we're not fully aware of how that trick's working. I've postulated before that if you had a secret place, let's just say, for the sake of argument, there's Island X, right? And it's somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic. Well, isn't it much better to point at somewhere that's completely benign, like a ice island, Antarctica, and even give people the notion that it's spread out all the way around them and give them a few maps that seem to imply that, rather than telling them about the actual place that they're genuinely going for whatever reason, if there is even such a location. You know, in other words, if you don't want people to know about something, Antarctica, they wouldn't tell you about it, as opposed to have well-documented treaties, hands across the water, etc., etc. But most people don't see it that way. They just want to have an ice wall or whatever they want.
Yeah, wizards always
I don't
say
know.
they build their bases in unattainable locations. Of course
Yeah.
they do.
I don't know. It's the same as, I don't know if you watched The Pianist before.
I've seen The Pianist, yeah.
Have you watched the? Yeah, you remember that part where they have the table, and then he puts they want to hide something from so they put the newspaper over it.
Yeah.
On the table.
Yeah.
It's the same type of thing. That's how they work with Antarctica. It's there right in front of your face, but they throw all these little smoke screens, so you'll just say, it's not important, type of thing.
Okay. Maybe. We don't know. We don't know what we don't know, and we don't know. So we don't know.
Well, I would think they did a pretty good job with the treaty, because most normies don't even know that it exists. There are a lot of people that come in, or especially like in places like 24/7 Flat Earth Discord, and we're talking to new people, and they have no idea that the Antarctica Treaty is a thing. So whether or not it's out there or not, they've kept it pretty well hidden in plain sight.
Maybe. Just a quick shout out to Awaken Narrative. It says, I can't believe I actually, quote, believed in space and the spinning ball, quote, model. I believed the lie. Now I, quote, know the truth. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat, Awaken Narrative.
Shout out to Awaken Narrative. And another shout out to my people on 24/7 Flat Earth Discord 2.0.
For all your 24-hour Flat Earth debating needs, 24/7 Discord.
Yes, indeed.
So what I see on this topic.
Oh, can you hang on just for 1 second, 10th? Was it Snagoli? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt 10th. I'm just saying, nice shout out to you two, Chocolate, and you two, Nathan, the whole panel. You guys rock.
Thank you very much.
Shout out to you too, brother.
Go on,
Thank you. From the biblical worldview that I have, what I see is conditioning. And when you have false religious systems, like the Pope heads one, says, I'll baptize aliens. It's what I could see the scripture pointing to principalities and powers of the air, which are the angelic forces, dark and good. And so how would they really want to prove this heliocentric model? Wouldn't it be great if some alien showed up? Oh, well, that must mean space is a vacuum and all the things that we said is happening, and changes the whole paradigm. So how it plays out at the end, I'm not exactly sure right now, but I do know that there's a lot of chatter right now, and the false prophets are talking about baptizing them, and the whole world's waiting for the encounter, except it won't be any heliocentric alien, it'll be a demon.
Okie dokie.
I'm 100% with you on that.
What I noticed in the past 5 years is that there's been less and less and less stories of abductees by aliens and people seeing alien spacecraft, and big stories about this happened to me with these aliens. And like those stories just literally from 2015, they just suddenly dropped off by 80%. All of a sudden just gone. And now they're out there, but they're on the fringe. There used to be a lot more on YouTube. YouTube used to have a lot more of them videos, I say, recommended and different things. Now, and there'll be a lot more of it on TV. Now it's,
but Brian, that's why they tried to bring it back up with that Area 51 raid.
Yeah, I think it was like less than 100 people turned up to that.
Sounds like a Joe Biden event.
Even before I got into Flat Earth, that alien abductive narrative, like it started dropping off, and the people who were really heavy into that, they already had an excuse behind that. They were like, because the aliens, they've already gotten everything they need from the humans, so they don't abduct us anymore. It's like, what? I don't get it.
Yeah,
they already got an answer for that. Sorry.
No, sorry for interrupting, but I wanted to address the subject for a bit because, like 20 years ago, I was also like into UFO research stuff. A little bit more than 20 years ago, because my first girlfriend was really into that, like really. So we went to like these places, conventions of UFO and all that, seriously. And there were people that were saying, yeah, we've been abducted. And I would literally just walk up to them and not even be patronizing, but just like, okay, taking a look at them. These people were obviously under influence on a regular basis on some stuff, not necessarily cannabis, because they were just really sloughed out. And I asked them, like, so what was it like to be kidnapped? And they were like, yeah, oh, let me tell the story. And then they're like, yeah, they were in their room and suddenly, like through their window, they saw this and then they just floated out like a Peter Pan situation. So then it was like, are you sure you were awake? Are you sure this isn't like a trip? Doesn't mean that there's nothing to it, but this might not have been the physical reality. Do you know? And they would just blankly stare at me. And I was like, oh.
Okie dokie. Quick couple of shout outs. Sorry, Owen. Awaken Narrative says, shout out to Chocolate and his work on 24/7 Discord. Indeed. Big shout out to Chocolate. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat, Awaken Narrative. Also, Godzilla37 says, want to hear an endless list of excuses? Ask a Glober chat warrior to go on Discord and prove their wet ball rocket model. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat, Godzilla.
Chocolate saying,
so
Coriolis effect!
But if I can round out, if anybody cares about this, but I did actual kind of field research and walked up to these UFO story people to really figure out, what is this? What was their experience? Do they believe it? And then do they even know what it was they experienced? And I would analyze it. And I came to the conclusion, all this supposed alien abduction, every one of them that I actually met face to face and had a conversation with, in my opinion, in my expert insight, that was all dream-based, all of it. And it might have been very intense experiences, probably like pineal gland involvement and all that. But none of it was any actual physical experience. I concluded that very early on, like 20 years ago. So,
so possible demons?
Well, extra dimensional, call them demons, or extra dimensional, whatever you want. You know them by their fruits, like with everything else.
I personally have seen, and I still do see, things in the sky, and they're not airplanes, they're not helicopters, they're certainly not satellites, and they move at will when they decide to move. They're lights, that's all I can see them as is a light. I don't know what they are. I don't know who's in them or who made them. But to the best of my knowledge, I wasn't abducted.
Brian?
Brought off into a sky vacuum. Go on.
Brian, you would agree that it's very possible for them to have a technology that they just don't give out to the public. It's easy.
Yeah, or maybe there is an alien. It could be either, Fast idea. I don't know, but I could say is the stories that we were being fed about aliens and all this stuff for years, and all these people that were experts on the subject, and this happened and that happened. Well, I'm seeing what would be the real thing, a real UFO, unidentified flying objects. They've interacted with me with light. I've been able to get them to flick light back at me, like a Morse code type thing. Not that I'm using Morse code, I'm just saying. And they have done that. Again, they know you're there, but who are they? What are they? I don't know. But I'm certainly not making a claim that they're from some sky vacuum and they're not human. I don't know.
Oh,
but like I'm saying,
God.
Wouldn't it just be possible that the governments have superior technologies that they don't disclose to the rest of the population? It's possible.
Oh yeah, I mean that's possible. But sorry, I didn't. When you said that the last time, I didn't make it clear enough. I was like, yeah, that's possible. And it's also possible that there's someone else that's not us in them. I built them, or I don't know. Anything is possible with it. But
isn't it possible that a third of the angels that were cast out of heaven are looking for bodies that they could possess?
I have no idea.
Could it perhaps be that people, say like in the 70s, where they were just randomly tripping out, they would actually be picked up by, say, like the FBI or something in their giant trippy state, and then they would experience that exactly like an alien abduction?
That's a good one.
But I'm not talking about all that. I'm talking about what I experience and have experienced as something real, a real UFO, an unidentified flying object. I know what they're not. They're not helicopters, planes. They're certainly not satellites. You know, they have interacted, and they will. If I try to get them to do interaction, they will interact. They don't seem hostile. I don't know if they're friendly. I don't know. I don't know what they are, but they'd be there.
Hey, I live on the border of California, Mexico, and the aliens here cook really nice dishes, so I have no problems with aliens.
Did they climb over the wall?
That's who's cooking your food.
Just a quick disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on the panel of Flat Earth debate do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of me.
We know you are in cahoots with them, Nathan. We know.
At least my aliens have flat tortillas. Come on.
Sorry, Tony V says from the chat, he says, with a super chat, thank you very much, Tony V, he says, could it be you guys have taken away too many drugs? I think he just means way. I'll just repeat that as I think there's a typo in it. Could it be that you guys have taken way too many drugs? I'm with you, Tony. I think yes. I think some of the panel members...
Maybe I've slipped to my point.
Yeah.
I haven't. I just studied people that did drugs to get to the bottom of this experience that's so popular.
Wait, hold up. So we're the ones that took drugs as we are standing still, but yet don't believe that we are spinning around at 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, flying around a giant ball of gas in a vacuum at 66,600 miles per hour? Like,
yeah, right?
Are we the ones taking drugs or you guys?
Yeah, who's under the influence here?
Yeah, we didn't take enough drugs for that to happen.
Right. Tell us how people are sticking antipodal under our feet, thousands of miles, on the other side of a ball. Please tell us that. I'm trying not to sound like you're on drugs.
Please tell us how everybody can be going in the same direction at the same time on a ball.
Well, I'm trying to get to that guy. There was a guy in the pre-show that had some questions. He was asking about, what was that? Eclipses? I thought he was going to have something in the live show. Is he still around?
Yeah, he's right there.
Yeah, I am here. Yeah, I am here. I'm here, sorry, yeah.
Well, what have you got, buddy?
I mean, I have a question, but it seems it's too silly for us to Nathan, so I just kind of avoiding it and just listening to the discussion. That's it.
You can ask. You don't mind answering.
Okay, so so this might sound silly, and you may shout at me. So I'm just gonna put this out right there. So if Earth is flat, why are we just seeing beyond the curvature of the Earth, but not just too far? Like if I live in US, I should have seen the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Like why am I not like I know this is far beyond the curvature of the Earth, but if Earth is really flat, why are we not seeing the Eiffel Tower?
Too small.
Have you ever?
Do you think you have unlimited line of sight?
Too small.
Oh, what?
You understand things get smaller the further away you get from them, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Too small.
So
You know what
once
And so you, I mean, we are seeing stars and moon, which are like hundreds of kilometers away from us.
Are they?
Or miles.
Are they?
Hold
How
on.
do you know that?
Yes.
Are they?
We don't know that.
Because on an eclipse day, me and my friend had a telescope, and we have seen moon, which is really far, and we have seen which is close to us. At least moon, not the stars, but we have seen moon, which is at least like 23,000 miles from here.
Why? Because you say so.
But
Can I
Paris
take this?
is
quickly?
just like 4,000 miles.
Yeah, I'm flat. Sorry, feel free.
Sorry. Okay. If it's so far, then why is it with my iPhone 6 I can zoom into the moon?
What?
I can use my iPhone 6 and I can zoom onto the moon. If it's so far, how do I get that right?
I mean, you can zoom on to the moon with your iPhone. Yes, you can, but you won't
But
get
I
as much
can't.
clarity as you
But
watch
my
in a
iPhone.
telescope.
But my iPhone can't zoom a mountain that's 2 kilometers away. How's that work?
I mean, see,
Trying to
if I
say the
use the
moon is
same
not as far
telescope
as
that I
you think
saw,
it is.
Okay, look, you gave us a number.
You understand?
You gave us a distance. How do you know how you've
Yeah.
got that number?
the distance between the Earth and Moon.
Yeah, you just assumed it. You threw in that it was that distance. Do you know how you've got that number, though?
They predicted it. The astronomers years ago, they predicted it.
Sorry, we're talking about measuring things. Predicted? No, you don't make predictions about. You measure things. That's how you measure distance with a tape measure. You can measure things. You know how to measure. That's not a prediction.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so where'd you get that distance? You're assuming it's a very far away thing, and you're saying, well, I can see that. Even though your original question was, why can't I see the Eiffel Tower? We answered, it's too small. Now, can we just cover that first before we move on to where you've got your moon distance? We know where you've got that distance from. It would seem you don't.
I'm being honest. I didn't find the distance between Earth and Moon. I looked it on the internet. I'm being honest about that. But if Earth is like flat, how flat is the Earth?
Stop asking us questions. Don't scattergun us. So let's get some concessions. First and foremost, you asked about why we can't see the Eiffel Tower, and you assumed it was behind a curve of the Earth. You made that declaration as part of your question. Then we answered, it's too small. Now I'm going to ask you, why would you assume that there's a curve of the Earth, a physical blockage between things that you see in the distance and yourself? Why would you assume that?
Because I don't see that far away.
The things are too small.
Do you think that's right?
Let's try again. I'll try slower. First, concede what I say. Don't ignore it. Don't just assume your sphere edge has got in the way when we've answered your question about the Eiffel Tower. Why can't I see it? It is too small. Do you understand that things get smaller as you get further away from them, eventually becoming too small to see, like the Eiffel Tower at a distance? It's not automatically behind a physical Earth curve edge that boats fall over. That's absurd. I'm telling you, not asking.
Okay.
It gets too small to see. Do you understand and concede this so we can move on? Not ignore it.
That Eiffel Tower is too small. But what about a Mount Everest? It's the largest
also
spot on
can
the
get
entire
too
Earth.
small to see. Do you understand that it doesn't just apply to the Eiffel Tower now? It seems that I've got to take baby steps with you. Not only the Eiffel Tower, but anything you look at gets smaller as it gets further away. We could list everything. We could go through all sorts of buildings and mountains and structures, but we just prefer you understood and conceded at this stage that things can get too small to see. How long is this going to take?
None at all. Thank you for answering the question. I'm done.
You haven't. So it's just ask us something and then bugger off when we ask you something. So no concession, no I understand. You asked us a question that we've answered and you've not replied to that. Why doesn't the Eiffel Tower get behind Earth curve? Oh, well, Earth curve's an assumption that would require physical geometry, and we debunked that with the Black Swan. So your declaration that it would somehow be behind Earth curve, we've debunked that. Now, obviously, you're not in the slightest bit interested in responding to anything I've got to say, only in asking us questions and then running away when we ask you something. So do you understand that the Eiffel Tower gets too small to see? The same would apply to a mountain or anything else you describe. It's not going behind a physical edge that boats fall over. That's your globe Earth edge physical horizon. That's not happening. Maybe just not respond to anything I've said? Too difficult to talk to, Nathan, right?
Yeah, you're shouting, that's why.
I'm not shouting, this is my normal tone. This is how I talk.
You said you don't interrupt, so I'm not interrupting. So when you're finished, then I'll talk.
Okay.
And I agree with you. things get too short when you're too far. I get it.
Excellent.
I get it.
So not going over a presumed sphere edge. Boats aren't falling over an edge of the globe. Just getting too small to see. You've just told me that you won't interrupt, so now you're continually bloody interrupting me. You don't have to nod along while I'm talking, saying yes, yes, yes. That cuts my line. Thank you. So boats are not going over a sphere edge horizon. This physical geometric sphere edge, you think boats go over and blocks things like the Eiffel Tower? They just get too small to see. They converge at the horizon. It's a convergence point. It's not a physical sphere edge that you assumed. Can we get a concession on that too? Maybe debate about it.
Yes, so according to you, how tall should a thing should be so you can see it from any distance? How tall, according to you, it should be to see the other corner of the planet?
How tall something's got to be to see it forever? No, there's something called an angular resolution limit based on the aperture of the thing you look through. Telescope, eyeball, camera. They've all got an aperture size. That dictates how big something will be. It's calculated with the Rayleigh criterion. Is this something you're familiar with?
Yes, I am. So hang on. So a telescope makes it 1,000 times more closer, right? That's what telescope is made for. So if I point it towards the France from US, a telescope, even though I won't see it, right? Even though I won't see an Eiffel Tower, which makes the telescope 1,000 times more closer to a thing that which is too far. So why am I not seeing through a telescope?
Just explained. The angular resolution limit based on the aperture calculable with the Rayleigh criterion, something you acknowledged as knowing, and then went on to ask me precisely what would be answered with the Rayleigh criterion that you said you understood. So you don't understand it, you lied. Otherwise you wouldn't be asking me that question. It's an absurd question if you understand diffraction limit. What's diffraction?
No,
let's have a go at a fundy fuckwit for a change. What's diffraction?
I know what a diffraction is, but
what is it?
A diffraction is a turning, is a bending or a turning of a wave, such as light.
I get so much shit about this. You don't know what diffraction is, and yet you're asking me and telling me you know what the Rayleigh criterion is. This is the diffraction limit. You don't even know what diffraction is. Why are you asking me with your assumption that an Earth curve edge, which we've debunked with the black swan, gets in the way, and presuming that you can see the Eiffel Tower forever? That's absurd. It's so stupid. Why would you think that you can see things forever? You've got an angular resolution limit. The point that things diffract. Why are you talking through me? You fundy moron. You don't know what diffraction is, you complete idiot. There's a limit that you can see things at. The point that they disappear. The point they diffract. The point that you have interference. That limit is calculable with the Rayleigh criterion. Maybe look into it. Rather than asking me why you can't see the Eiffel Tower forever, it makes you seem like an imbecile. Things get too small to see, you imbecile. Now answer me this. Why would you assume that boats go over the edge of a sphere, blocking them from bottom up? Why would you assume that? Given that you don't understand that things can disappear into the distance with an angular resolution limit at the point they diffract. You don't even know what that word means. I get accused of not knowing what diffraction is, even though I've been detailing it for 3 straight years. The reason people come to me and ask me what diffraction is because I get people like Conspiracy Cats on Tony's channel fundy muting the shit out of me when it takes quite a considerable period of time to explain to an arsehole what the diffraction limit is, and how it destroys the fundamental premise of your Earth curve geometry, which ignores this limit where things diffract. Now that's completely ignored in your Earth curve geometry, yet you've told me Earth curve gets in the way of the Eiffel Tower, having absolutely no knowledge of things diffracting into the distance. It's absolutely pathetic. Do you feel stupid? You should.
No.
Why not? You don't know what diffraction is. You don't know what the diffraction limit is. You don't know what the Rayleigh criterion is. You're asking me why I can't see the Eiffel Tower forever. It's too small to see. Now, the fact that you would ask such an absurd question makes me think you're an imbecile.
Nathan, that's not a diffraction limit. It's
what is
called
the diffraction limit?
limited system. That's the full name of it, and the resolution of an optical imaging system, a macroscope, a telescope, or a camera. And eyes can see until an infinity distance. I can see stars.
You can't see an infinite distance. You stupid moron. No, you cannot. There is a diffraction limit, calculable with the Rayleigh criterion. You are stupid. You cannot see an infinite distance. However, if you translate your world into an orthographic view, where you're standing side on to something you're observing, and draw a straight line between the two, as is done in Earth curve geometry, then it would imply that you could see forever, because the size of the thing you're observing doesn't change its actual value. That would be feet or meters. So it doesn't matter how far you draw the line between observer and target. In Earth curve geometry, you can see an infinite distance. And that's why you think you can see an infinite distance, because you are ignorant of diffraction limits. That's why you think you can see forever, because in your world, the feet and inches value of a target never changes. Implying you can see forever? Well, that makes you stupid. You can't see forever. There's a diffraction limit, you stupid idiot. No? No response? Were you unaware of this limit you lied about? Rayleigh criterion?
I mean, I've heard about refraction, but I never heard of diffraction. Yes,
you asked me if it was light bending. You haven't got the slightest clue what these words mean. You are the kind of person that asks me why you can't see the Eiffel Tower forever. Like, literally, that is so stupid. I hope you feel stupid with your religious belief that boats go over an Earth curve edge based in geometry that allows you to see forever because it's hijacked perspective and calls it Earth curve, something you are completely blissfully unaware of. Yeah, things get too small to see, moron. It's not Earth curve getting in the way because you can see forever and only Earth curve obstructs things in the distance. That's not what happens. So, my friend, we do have a diffraction limit, calculable with the Rayleigh criterion. It's not that we can see forever, as per your geometric maths, that uses feet and inches for a target, implying you can see it at any distance. A million miles, who cares?
If you look down, do you still see the people?
Flatzoid, please can you not talk through me? My friend, you are completely blissfully unaware of diffraction limits. Rayleigh criterion, things getting too small to see. Why are you even here asking me questions about why you can't see things? That's stupid. Why ask me why you can't see the Eiffel Tower forever? That's a stupid question. That only somebody who believes they're on a sphere and can see forever because their maths takes place in orthographic view would ask that. Just because you're blissfully unaware of this thing called perspective.
Perspective. You're talking about perspective. I get it.
Good. I don't ask stupid questions about why you can't see the Eiffel Tower forever. We've got perspective. Your curve maths thinks you can see forever because it's hijacked that effect and called it Earth curve. With that, I'll say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley or Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!